Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in an effort to share a couple poetry readings from a brand new book release, these are a few poems from the Dawn in the Dirt February 2022 issue/paperback book, And I Disappear. And this book is not only available online. If you want to see any of this material online, you can also order a hard copy of it at Amazon. But I was going to share with you just three poems from this book. From the back, I'll just go to the back of the book and find some poetry for you. This first one is titled Evil is Tricky. People have fought in wars, killed people, had to justify it in their minds. Women have been raped, then told it was the way they dressed to lure the lust. Then again, young women are sold for sex acts to insanely rich, middle-aged men. People don't want to believe life is a delusion, but evil is tricky. Evil is a dog that you can think you'd recognized because evil is tricky. Evil just hides in plain sight. People live day to day and they think that even though their life is day to day only nothingness, going through the motions, they think that life is generally good and that they're only missing out on the good life because they didn't take the right steps or make the right choices. And maybe it's only the select few who see that the difference between good and evil is paper thin, tissue thin. That maybe just a few can actually see that line, that paper thin line that they dance on every day. That is one of three poems from the new Down in the Dirt book. I am reading in honor of the Tom Woodruff monthly poetry open mic titled Community Poetry that I host only every once in a while, but because Tom is not able to run it because of the pandemic and COVID-19, I am reading in the time that it would normally happen when I'd read Newscar's Publications books. This is the second of three poems I'm going to share with you. It is titled Popular and Useless. A part of us wants to be famous. We want everyone to know us and love us. If I'm wrong, explain to me the selfie stick. But think about it. The most popular things, I mean, more popular than people, are products. Coke, Harley, Kodak, Levi's, Nike, even 7-Eleven. All these things are so much more known than you or me. All these things are so popular because they have no substance. So, maybe the selfie stick makes sense. If we all want to be popular, if we all want to be famous, maybe we've learned how to take our cues for being perfect by being generic and having no substance at all. So, let's go and start the show. Time to turn your camera toward yourself. Open your eyes wide, but don't smile too hard, for you can be wrinkle-free then and post that perfect picture on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest to show everyone how on the surface you're picture perfect. Don't bother looking for anything under the surface. Just inject botulism into your face so you can't even show expression, because nothing's too far for surveillance for surface beauty. So if you want to be known, then focus on the outside and don't worry about what's on the inside at all. I think I did that somewhere, and we all took a selfie on the stage together. Everybody take a selfie, and we took selfies because that's what's important, right? This is the last poem I was going to share with you. Hey, and it's the last poem in the book. Why the heck not? From Down in the Dirt, and I disappear, because after this poem and the last poem in the book that I'm going to read, I'm going to disappear. This poem is titled Xynotyro. It's not ricotta. Doctors found a large ovarian cyst in a friend of mine, still in her early 20s. She was scheduled for surgery to remove it. So the weekend before, I thought she needed to get away. She needed a pick-me-up. So we flew to D.C. and stayed with my friend. Now, my friend worked on the Hill, so he didn't know my girlfriend, so he just gave us keys so that we'd be out on our own. So we saw the Smithsonian, we toured the town, took buses from one place to the next. Now, when this city girl got on a DC bus and sat down, I thought we'd have a moment of peace. Until a disheveled older black man walked right over to us to talk. And the first thing in my head was that this guy was homeless. But I'm trapped with him on this bus. How do I avoid him talking and asking for money? But there was no escaping him. He looked us right in our eyes and said, "Can you help me?" And I didn't want to answer. I was out of my element. But he pulled out a newspaper, crinkled in his grasp, and he said, I'm doing this crossword here, and they want a 7-letter word for cheese. There's an O and a T, but they're in the wrong spot. It's a kind of cheese. It's not ricotta. Can you think of any other kind of cheese? No. I don't do crossword puzzles, but I couldn't even think, and I think my friend was a little too concerned for her own safety. So we both just said, no. And he said thanks, and he turned to ask someone else on the bus and keep repeating it. A kind of cheese. 7 letters. It's not ricotta. And so we returned back to staring out the large glass panels of the bus, trying to soak everything in that we could, though we could still hear that din of people talking and that disheveled man asking strangers about this crossword clue. I think I looked over to see him accosting another woman with his forwardness, but when he stopped asking, she looked down and then meekly said, "Cottage?" And that's when this disheveled man turned into a bombastic, boisterous behemoth, thrilled with the one word that he needed. Cottage? Cottage? It's cottage! Thank you! And just then the bus slowed down for a stop, and the man kept repeating the words as he got off the bus. Cottage! A 7-letter word for cheese! Cottage! And I even watched him walk down the street as our bus pulled away, seeing such new animation in this old man's step. Can you imagine seeing this big cottage? But that was the last poem, and like the book title says, From Down in the Dirt, volume 192, the February 2022 222 issue. Volume 192, and I Disappear. Something I normally read at community poetry open mics, thanks to Tom Woodruff, the host of that open mic that cannot be running right now. In honor of this title, I am going to right now disappear. I hope everyone is remaining safe. I hope everyone is remaining poetically inclined. I hope everyone has been vaccinated and is staying as healthy as possible so we can all get out sooner rather than later so we don't have to be quarantined in our corners to share with the world. I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you very, very soon, and thank you all so very much. Thank you. Thanks.